shit. The Simone Biles thing is different because like she quit and US still won the silver, which I didn't think they had a chance. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense to me, bro. Like it doesn't make, I've always been told if Kobe Jelly Bean motherfucking Bryant couldn't come back from an Achilles after a year, nobody can. Nobody can come in earlier than that. Not a single.
You know what it was? He didn't do it right.
It's the level
if he hadn't taken that free throw,
that's right.
He would have come back in a month and a half.
Yeah, you're right.
But that free throw cost him another 13 months.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, and he just it's that fucking free throw, bro.
Speaking of Simone Biles.
Yeah, let me get your thoughts on that, man. Should I set the table?
Look, man.
Should I set the table and then
go ahead? Yeah. Please.
So
for people that aren't familiar with what's going on.
Yeah, this morning, right? Again, we're recording this July 27th. This morning, Simone Biles withdrew. Initially, USA Gymnastics said it was due to injury, right? Said it was a medical issue, right? Now Simone Biles, I guess, on her Instagram. I don't know. I'm not on social media, as we know, but you know, Dan Le Batard talked about it, where it posted that it was. She just felt like the weight of the world was on her shoulders, and she just couldn't. She was just shaking and like almost having like panic attacks and shit like that. Again, I've had anxiety attacks. I've had panic attacks. I'm a big proponent, and I tell everybody that will listen, mental health and therapy is a great thing. Don't think it isn't. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. If you work out your body, if you work out, if you eat clean, you should work out your mind and talk to somebody to work out those issues and get to know yourself better. Can't knock that at all. Now,
right.
What are your thoughts on it? Because we went back and forth as to like we ping-ponged ideas of like, okay, it's like this. Because if it would have been Kevin or LeBron, would our talking points be different? So what are your thoughts?
The talking points have happened. I mean, that has happened. If you recall LeBron, 2008 when he supposedly quit in the Boston series.
Yeah. And then
it always comes back to
the three quarters. And then the three quarters LeBron in the Dallas Mavericks series.
Yeah. And then there's, and I don't know if anyone talks about this one, but there's the one that I noticed, and I bought tickets to this game and then I sold them because I had a feeling that it was just not going to work out. Game 5 of the San Antonio series where they got beat 4-1, I think.
4-1, yep.
And I was going to that game in San Antonio. There was like $600-700, and I sold my ticket, and I ended up watching it at a bar, and they got out to a 20-point lead, and I just had a feeling like it's not gonna last. They're not gonna be able to hold up. They're doing everything they can. San Antonio wasn't playing well. Miami was playing the greatest game that they could, and they did. They fell apart in the third quarter, and I looked at his body language. Now, granted, this was when everything else was happening, with like the talks. Is he coming back?
Yep.
Brady was trying to talk to him. Wade was trying to convince him what's going on. Blah 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 blah. That whole drama around it.
Yeah.
But I looked at it and I've seen the game since then, and his body language to me was like, "I quit." Now, whether it was because he quit because the team wasn't doing anything, or he quit because like he just nothing he could do was going to change anything. They were going to lose to the Spurs. They were just a better team. But to me, he quit on the court. That's what it looked like. And they didn't make such a huge deal out of it as they did the Boston game and you know, the other stuff like the Mavericks.
Yep.
But he's gotten shit for it. All these athletes that and I don't know, like maybe it's I don't know if it's a different situation because I got into Twitter for a little bit and I went down the Twitter rabbit hole. I had to like control myself, but there's a comment about her having like the goat emoji or the goat sewn onto her uniform or something like that, and she didn't create that for herself. I think every time people talk about her, they throw out
that's
the
a
goat
lot of pressure.
emoji.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
She's the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
she's doing stuff that men can't even do.
Yeah,
or
she has moves
few
named,
men can do.
She has moves named after her. Yeah.
She has moves named after her. She's performing things that are so difficult that no other women can do it. And I mean, and then this goes back to like 2019 where she wasn't even scored appropriately because the way gymnastics are scored is level of difficulty and then the execution.
Yep.
And so the things that she was attempting were are way more difficult than what other athletes are attempting, and they're even underscoring her on that because the bullshit excuse from these judges or the IOC or whomever, it's not the IOC, it's another group, was that they didn't want to rank it so high because if they ranked it really high, that would entice other gymnasts to try it, even though these were extremely unsafe maneuvers. And so they didn't want to give.
Yeah, she was being
Simone
punished for her
Biles,
greatness.
But but the thing is that there are other moves that are extremely unsafe.
All of them are
that they get. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Look at the crazy shit they're doing, but there are some that are deemed unsafe already that they try anyway. So yeah, she was being punished for her greatness, and so I think that was part of the conversation too, going into the Olympics, that she wasn't being graded, scored fairly. And
you think,
look, to me, she has the right to do that. She's not feeling well.
Yep.
She wasn't there mentally. The U.S. team with her, I think mentally there or not, they may not have gotten the gold. I don't know, but
they lost by like 2 points.
I don't know. I know that she beats people by whole points.
Yeah.
In a sport where you win by tenths of a point.
Yeah.
Because of the other stuff that she does. So maybe they do beat the ROC. I can't say the name of the country because that country's not competing.
Exactly.
But
it's in the first. The R is the country, then the OC is the Olympic Committee. Very weird.
Okay.
Now, do you think we had a conversation? I want to say like a month and a half ago about the whole Naomi Osaka thing, right? Like withdrawing could due to mental health issues. It's kind of simple. Like
it's an individual sport,
right? It's 100%. Like if she does this, like this is where I'll go at this a little bit differently, right? Like, well, I don't want to like just go hard in the paint because I have a therapist. Mental health is my thing. I mean, but like,
right,
where I'll have, and this is just where I'll have the bigger issue with it is if she competes in her personal individual all around, because like
she's going to.
That's where it'll bother. Like these were incredibly inexperienced Olympians, right? Like she was the only former Olympian on the team. No, because wait, like she was on the side clapping and all this shit, and I get that. But like if she goes after like individual success, and again, if this was I want to be very clear. If this was a man that did this shit, well, the men's gymnastics is absolute trash. So it's not like that's even in the conversation. They're constantly fifth. They don't even fucking medal, right? Like, and she's still quote unquote the greatest of all time by everything you said. But if she goes after the individual and she like had a, I think I would look at it differently. I can't say that now, right? I guess I don't know if I go hard because like as the way I'm looking at it, I could only give you like my take right now. If she comes back tomorrow, because I think it's tomorrow in Japan for them, for the individual. If she comes back and goes, no, I'm fine now. I think people are going to feel some kind of way, man. I think people are going to feel some kind of way.
And I don't know if you read this. So there are reporters there, journalists.
Yep.
And they were watching her attempt a couple of maneuvers, and she bailed on those maneuvers a couple times. So she was going to do an extra or whatever, and she didn't complete. You can't. You will literally kill you. She will become paralyzed. Like if you're not mentally there to complete something like that,
you could die.
It's not the same as like I'm not feeling there mentally. I can't drain this 3. No. Like that I don't know. I don't want to say that it's life and death, but when you're at the point where like you're bleeding out because you're not confident in yourself in landing something. So you know what I mean? Like forget whatever score you get. Like the maneuvers that they're trying are crazy, and then the maneuvers that she tries are next level. Yep. So even if she's not trying one of those, like just to go out there and compete, and she's not sure, and she doesn't land right, or she doesn't, that's going to put her health at risk.
I don't think.
And that's why I have no trouble. Like I get that she might get shit for it, or like Osaka had no issue with her. I have no issue either, even though people are gonna. I saw people shitting on her.
Of course.
You're right. We would definitely go harder on LeBron and on the men. And again, that's a stigma where like mental health is mental health, period.
Yes.
But I see, like, I get that it's a team sport, but when that type of sport, when you have to do those things that
individually still
puts your body.
Yeah.
And look, and if she comes back and competes individually and her mind is clear and all this, and she's going through practice and she's able to complete her routines and her practice is fine, I don't have an issue, but when she's going through practice in this team event and she literally she's whatever's got her worked up.
I don't know.
She's at a point that at that time she couldn't complete it. She was going to put herself in danger. Like I have no issues with her pulling out.
Without a doubt, I have no issues with. Now, my question, right? Like, and this is just through the conversation because I'm making sure to like be attentive and like listen to what you're saying. Like, I don't understand how you get to the point where like you're literally shaking. This is what Stu Gott said, right? Like you're literally shaking, like as before you walk on stage and the practice and stuff like that. Because that pressure is something, John. Well, let's be honest, right? Like regardless, might put this out there too. When we get a huge contract with Meadow Lark Media and our podcast blows up and all this different, we'll never understand that kind of pressure, right? We'll never understand from like the age of 4 dreaming of being an Olympian. You know what I mean? We can't go back 33 years and live it all over again and all that. We'll never understand what it's like to be Simone Biles, LeBron James, Kevin. We'll never understand that. We could just give our take on these things and we're only talking about it purely from like the mental health perspective. Like I don't understand how for her own mental health, right? And I'm not talking about like I would feel a different kind of way just because like, oh, she's using the mental health thing, but like I don't understand how like in 24 to 36 hours, whenever it is, because again, time frame is different depending on the time in Japan, like how mentally you could say I can't do this because I'm bailing out. So no, I can't do this. You know what I mean? Like it would scare me for me to see her like do the vault, the balance beam. You know what I mean? Like you still kind of injure yourself, but it's not like a high rate of speed movement where you're like doing the vault or the uneven bars or the floor where you could really injure yourself. But like for her to come back, that was scary because of like 24 hours ago, you were fried so much that you pulled out of an Olympic event when the world was counting on. Like, I don't know how, like, if she does it and surpasses and wins the gold again, I'll applaud her with no ill will, shame, or anything, or any kind of thought. But the thought of her doing that without being 100% focused to do routines that the world can't do, and she gets hurt because of the pressure of like, oh look, you let down your team, that's when I'll have a problem. You know what I mean? Like that's when I'll have a problem. Like she should not have to injure herself to that level for our own enjoyment and our entertainment, right? Her pulling out, I have zero problem with. I didn't have a problem with Naomi Osaka pulling out. Mental health, look, you never know when an anxiety attack, panic attack is going to hit you. Do your thing, but I don't like. She has to be stopped now, in my mind, from herself, and be like, look, we can't do this. There's a what if like halfway through a double backflip somersault Simone Biles shit, she loses focus because in a like we don't know.
This is what I'm reading from The Hill 59 minutes ago. It says, we're going to take it one day at a time and see what happens. I have to focus on my mental health. I just don't trust myself as much anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's age. I'm just more nervous when I do gymnastics. I feel like I am also not having as much fun. And I know this Olympic Games, I wanted it to be for myself. I'm still doing it for other people. And look, at 24, by the way,
she's old.
Like 24 as a gymnast, you're old. You're like a 45-year-old quarterback.
Yeah,
Great.
your body's
what are you
fucked.
Still doing here?
Your body's fucked. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they have been doing this, like you said, since they were 4 years old.
Yeah.
These gymnasts have been putting their bodies through hell.
Yeah.
So yeah, I she didn't really say what it was, but obviously the fact that she doesn't trust herself, for whatever reason. Yeah, physically she feels good. She's in shape.
It's all mental.
Emotionally, that kind of varies.
Yeah.
On time and moment. So I don't know. Maybe emotionally it's just, who knows? We don't know what's going on. Maybe it's as simple as she is the greatest of all time, and this is the time to, not that she needs to cement it, but like performing here would definitely cement her legacy if she hasn't already done so. And maybe that pressure just,
it's too much.
It's caught up with her in the moment.
You reading that actually brought me back to something. I think it was yesterday or the day before, where they did like an interview thing. You know how they do like the little bio thing where like they have the camera right in your face, like the little ring light, and then the camera's right there. And you're talking to the camera, and she said it. She said that same thing. We're like, I'm older now. Like it gets harder to like get up for these moments. I'm 24. She goes, that's really old for gymnasts. You know, like my body doesn't feel the same. Like I become more afraid of injury, and what I'm gonna do when I'm younger, I'm reckless. Like I'm more fearless than anything else. Like to think about like the rate of speed that she's jumping and the height that she's jumping. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it's just normal where like that. Look, man, like we can't do the same things we could do 10 years ago. Like we can't do the same things we could do 20 years ago, regardless of like your body just changes. And that's not being put through the physical trauma that is women's gymnastics in the USA. And also let's not fucking let it slide that US gymnastics covered up for a fucking sexual abuser in Larry Nassar, and which Simone Biles was a victim of. Like that also happened. With being the only one that, because all these girls that are there now weren't treated under Larry Nassar, with somebody else. She's the last one. You know what I mean? Like that's also huge and weighing. I'm sure has to be weighing on her. I don't know.
No, I agree. Look, you got to take care of yourself.
100% of the time.
At the end of the day, these are just sports, man. These are they're just games. They're the Olympic Games, and the one that she competes in requires not just talent, but extreme focus and mental focus, agility. If you're not there mentally, it could be ugly. It could be ugly.
It could be very, very, very.
I don't want to see her. Bad. I don't want to see her in a wheelchair, unable to walk, unable to do whatever, because she feels that she has to go out there, even though she doesn't trust herself.
Yeah.
And something happens to her. So I get that. If it was a guy or any other sport, like you said, Durant, James, whatever, we'd be giving them shit. And I don't even deal with. I've given them shit. I've talked shit about LeBron and other things he said, but I just never looked at it as a mental health issue. One, maybe because of the stigma, and they never said that it was a mental health issue. But two, they didn't bring it up. But I didn't think of it as a mental health thing. Like the way that I just saw them quit.
Yeah.
I just saw their body language quit. It wasn't I'm scared or I can't do it. It was just like I quit. Yep. Whereas she's like, I'm scared. And when you're talking about the maneuvers that
happens a lot of basketball though.
Like you're scared for your life.
Yeah.
Like in that sport. Mm-hmm. I would be too.
Terrified.
So
I'm terrified watching it. Like I'm terrified seeing somebody run at that rate of speed, hit a fucking vault, spring up in the air 25 feet, and then stick it on their heels. Can't comprehend that shit. That has to be oh no.
Yeah, the proprioception required to do that, execute those maneuvers is ridiculous.
Yeah, I couldn't do a front flip, like a regular front flip, and land like that. Even at my best. There's like, no, I'd fucking land right on my face. No, fuck that. Listen, man.
That's why I go into the foam ball pits. That's why.
But even then, you belly flop that shit. Yeah.
but there's no consequences. None. Except being made fun of.
Yeah, that's about it, which is fine. Make fun of me. I don't get injured. Look, I personally, I don't think she should compete again. Like it scares me to think that she's willing, that there's going to be people around her. They're going to be like, oh, but you have to do this because, like, dude, like none of us go out there and perform like she does. Not her coaches, not her teammates, not anybody else that wears those fucking uniforms from any country has ever performed to the level Simone Biles performed it. So she can literally talk to nobody. That's incredibly difficult, man. I don't think she should do the all around, but hey, man, I don't know. It's tough, bro. It's tough. See how I've like evolved on my thought process as I've gone through this, where I was like, oh, I might give her shit. Now I'm just like, nah, probably not. I don't think she should do it. That's growth, sir. That's what that is. That's growth.
It took me to tell you, hey, you understand that this isn't shooting a fucking free throw. Yep. It's someone doing the things that she does, and you don't trust yourself.
That's
break your neck. I know, but just
we're brothers. But you know,
I'm not asking you to give me credit. you already know you gave me the credit.
Yeah.
even though you didn't want to.
I acknowledge
you didn't have to say it.
Yeah, man. Look, mental health is, like I said, we talk about all the time. Like that's like the overarching theme of our pod. That's why we'll never attack that kind of situation. You know what I mean? Like we will never attack anybody. Like, you know, it's for what they feel is right for them to do. Who the fuck am I to tell? Who the fuck is anybody to tell me what to do with my thoughts and my mental health days? And who the fuck am I to tell anybody what to do with theirs? Especially at a level that I would never comprehend. Like I don't even speak that language of greatness. Like I'm in like the understanding English for dummies, and she's on like the highest level of ancient alien fucking technology and speaks it fluently. That's just some shit I would never comprehend, bro. Never.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. JV, you got anything else? I think we knocked it all out.
Yeah, man. As far as mental health goes, LeBron's a quitter. Mental health issues don't apply to him. He quit in the Boston series. He quit in the Maverick series. He quit in Game 5 against the Spurs. That's why he'll never beat MJ or Kobe. R.I.P.
Yep. And I guess I also here's my mental.
He's great, but he also quit for sure.
There's also that part where like I question Durant's leadership. Like if we're gonna start like I don't know if he's that dude, because I don't understand how they're losing, bro, and I don't know if they're gonna like get it together. Given this isn't a very good team, but Durant's supposed to be that dude. Like I think he's just that dude as an auxiliary piece. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, you're talking about the Olympic team? I thought you were talking about like the Brooklyn.
No, overall. Like I don't think he's that guy that makes anybody better. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think it's so much easier. I think we don't understand how much easier Steph made the game for Durant.
Oh, I agree. But look, Durant does make people better by default of being Durant, right? Because he's going to draw double and triple teams that if he gives the ball up, he should have.
I think there's something missing with him, leadership wise. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. We'll see.
By the way,
I'm basing it off one
mental
game.
Health. Yeah, I know you are. And I'm not watching the Olympics, but I know the U.S. lost to France.
Yeah.
Giannis, right? Giannis, who not just mental health, right? Flamingo leg. Right? We're talking about flamingo leg, and he played, and he had a crazy series. We didn't even talk about this at all.
Didn't even cover it at all.
A week ago.
Yep.
Exactly. This guy who is extremely talented.
Yes.
A generational talent.
Yeah.
Dominates games. Dominated that series
with layups
with a couple 40-point games.
Yeah, and a 50.
Yeah, but
and a 50
and dunks. But like people talk shit about. That's all you do, right? Harden is like, oh, I wish I could be 8 feet tall and just dunk on people. Like. Look,
everybody would
dominated in the paint.
Yeah.
Elijah one dominated in the paint.
Shaq.
Karl Malone dominated. Shaq, like Kareem.
Yeah.
The skyhook, like all these players. Look,
it's very dismissive.
Harden has his little bullshit move where he draws fouls and he shoots threes. Steph can handle the ball and shoot threes.
Yeah.
This dude, people know what he's gonna do, and they still can't stop him. The Heat did it. The Heat did it, and
Toronto.
That was a one-time thing, but I mean,
Toronto did it before the year before.
But they did. But look, but what I was getting at with Giannis is, as great as he is, as dominant as he is, as all he's accomplished, this guy goes out there and says, "Yeah, I'm not a closer." And I think he was being questioned on his leadership, his mental toughness, this and that. No, like, do you know the mental toughness that it takes to go out there in an alpha male sport?
Yeah.
And be like, nah, this dude, like if it wasn't for him, I'm gonna hate the day that he leaves or retires.
Yeah.
Like to be able to go out there and say that about Middleton, even though you're the superstar. And you know what? All these people started talking like he's a number 2. You can't win with Giannis. I'm like, no, dude, he's not the number 2. He's the number 1, but he knows that if you need someone to close, or if he's not having the day that he's having, Middleton's there. There is nothing wrong with that.
Nothing.
And the fact that he's able to say that,
I think that
people are questioning his mental toughness, which is the opposite. Like that shows extreme mental toughness.
I think that goes back to the thing you were talking about earlier, right? With like the stigma, right? Where like as somehow addressing and understanding your weaknesses is looked at as weak, right? Like where I'm perfect at everything. No, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Right. Like everybody's flawed incredibly terribly at something. right? Like
A lot of things.
and for you to like and for you to be able to like in front of the media of however many millions of people, like, again, look, I'm just not that. Like, that is utter greatness, man. Like, to just say it and have the ability to just own it and say it so matter of factly. Like, my perspective on Giannis evolved so much throughout these playoffs, right? Where against Durant, because I'm a Durant fan, you know what I mean? Like, regardless of what I say, I'm a huge Durant fan. I think he's one of the greatest of all time. But like against that, I was like, I just wanted to see that more. You know what I mean? That Durant versus Giannis, because it was such a duel and it was incredible. And just like, dude, it's. And then I was like, oh, there's
Not just to be able to say that.
Not there's so much. There's so much more than that, right? Like, where you just want to see that more, and then be able to understand. Like, look, yeah, Durant's the greatest player in the planet. Like, the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, to be able to say it while they're playing each other, and then knowing that, yeah, I'm gonna beat you these next 2 games, though. Cool, enjoy this 3-2, but I'm gonna take these next 2 games and I'm gonna take it on the road to the championship. Like that, there's nothing wrong with being humble, man. There's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with being humble. And what's crazy to me is that, like, the 3-point line and Steph especially, with the way that he fucking shooting from half court,
greatest shooter of all
30
time.
feet back.
Yeah.
Right. Changed the game. And now everyone wants to do that.
Yeah.
But Giannis is Shaq. I mean,
Yeah.
the way he scores, where he scores from 4 feet out, he's Shaq with the handles, not quite of a point guard, but I mean, the way that he handles the ball, like, he has athleticism, because that's where he scores. He's scoring inside the paint. And I get that we love free 3-pointers and all this shit, but I look at his stats. The dude shot 62%, 67%. Fuck, shoot all the twos you want. If you're gonna shoot 62, 67%,
shoot them
you're
all.
gonna have to shoot you're gonna have to shoot 45% from 3.
Yeah.
What's more
realistic?
That
right?
efficiency.
Yeah. What's more realistic?
Not only that. Yeah, exactly. What's more realistic? But not only that, down the stretch, talking about mental toughness, everyone knows his weakness. He can't shoot free throw. He made all the fucking free throws.
Yeah.
All the free throws.
From
knew
the
that
guy,
he was gonna get fouled, and he said, "Give me the ball.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and I'll take the foul." He made the shots and made all the free throws.
From the guy that in the Brooklyn series had a Ben Simmons moment that he passed it up and turned the ball over because he didn't want the free throw. That's the evolution of his mental health and mental strength throughout the playoffs. And I salute Giannis, man. I salute Simone Biles for all that shit. Like, you have to know only you can take care of you. That's it. Like, nobody knows at that level. Like, nobody knows your everyday shit. You, me, whoever listens to this, so on and so forth. Giannis, only they know. Like, I didn't know that Giannis Antetokounmpo wasn't even his real name. His real last name is like Antenubo or something. If you looked at it, was like all over Twitter, where like the tribe that he actually comes from is the same tribe. Is the same tribe as Akeem Olajuwon. Right. So like, he fucking was it not canonized, but he Hellenized. I think they called it Hellenized. He Hellenized his name to become more Greek, to become, you know what I mean? He did that shit. Like, dude, like, humility and greatness is all that Giannis is about. And I look forward to next season. And I'm gonna root for him, man. Like, I'm gonna root for Giannis. I'm not gonna root for the Bucks because whatever, like, but I guess by proxy I'll root for the Bucks, but I'm gonna root for somebody who's that humble and knows exactly who he is. That's it.
I got nothing.
I got nothing else, brother. All right, man. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace. John, you're gonna do your little weird deuce.
What weird deuce, man?
That one right there.